WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting, well, rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have something new from the Uncharted Whisky Company. That's from Dana and Jack. I actually did an interview with them with their first bottle, the Glen Arachi. And this is You Take the High Road. There's always a little bit of song title or song melody in there. Single Malt Scotch Whisky, 14 years old, distilled at Loch Lomond Distillery, and it is 56.2%. Whiskybase number 186914. Over here in Germany, we're paying €84.90 for it. It was a total of 210 bottles, distilled on the April 1st, 2007, not a joke. And it was bottled on the 2nd of June, 2020, and so very, very recently. Yeah, so now dinewhiskey.de, I've done a few videos about some of their, I'm going to call them store bottling, store picks. They're exclusively bottled for this online retailer. And the guy that actually runs this here is slowly becoming a friend of mine. He's a good acquaintance, and he, for some reason, somehow became the importer in Germany for Uncharted Whiskey, which I think is kind of cool. So they said, well, we don't have an importer. He was like, okay, what do we do? Could you be the importer? Well, I guess I could be the importer. And so he actually receives a couple boxes of each and every bottling. They're always single cask. So if you have 200, 300 bottles, 12 bottles for Germany is not a whole lot, but it's enough for our market at the moment. And so that's what we have. Now, I must be very, very candid with you that I am not a big fan of heavily peated whiskeys yet. I'm on my journey to become a peat head. I've tasted over 2,000 different whiskeys, many of them not peated, many of them from around the world, and a lot of them from Scotland, but I have been avoiding some of those peated whiskeys. So what I did before this is I tried the Week of Peat from Balvenie to see what that Highland peat tasted like. It's actually more of a Speyside peat, I'm sorry, forgive me for that. And then I actually have here our Loch Lomond peat. Now, I am not the expert on where the peat comes from yet. I do know that many things in Islay, no problem. I do know that Highland Park, no problem with their heather. But these other distilleries, they're a little bit still of a mystery to me. Now, Loch Lomond does a lot on site. They have column stills, they have pot stills, they have grain whiskey, they even have their own cooperage there. But what they don't have is their own malting. They let someone else do the maltings for them, and that's the question: is not only where does the grain come from. It's all from Scotland, by the way, with Loch Lomond. I'm not sure if 14 years ago it was all from Scotland, but it is today. The same thing for Glen Scotia. Scottish barley, which is great. But the real question is, where does that peat come from to give this taste to this whiskey? Is it closer to Loch Lomond? Is it closer to the Highlands? Is it maybe Islay peat? I have no idea. And so if you know more than I do, and there's many people out there that do know much more than I do, please write in the comments, where does Loch Lomond get their peat from, and where do they do their maltings from? I could have asked beforehand, but it's a Saturday and I wanted to do the video real quick to actually fill up my samples, to send out some samples to someone else, and that's why I did not do that. So I'm going to compare it to something which is really weird, all right? So this is the Springbank 12 cask strength from 2021. Bottled on the 14th of April 2021. This runs over here in Germany at the moment. I paid 99 euros for this. This, as I have mentioned, is then 84 euros. On the nose, I get a lot of a peat moment. And I'm very, very particular in the types of peat at the moment. We can have some type of a smokehouse peat. We can have the ashtray peat. We can have the heather smoked peat, which I actually like a lot up from Highland Park. We can have the iodine peat down from Lagavulin or Lafroig. Yeah, we have different types of peat, and I have not had very many. I steered away from them. Very many peated whiskies from Loch Lomond. I do know that Loch Lomond used to have the Inchgemore and the Inchgemur. It's like one little letter, an O or a U, and that's the peated or not peated. One means smoke, one means grass, but still it was a cute, tiny little marketing phrase, but it confused a lot of people, including me. And now they're just going for Loch Lomond, peated, unpeated. I hope that they'll have that on the labels. That's something I really want, so that I don't get surprised. Oh, I bought a Loch Lomond. Yummy, yummy. Oh no, it's peated. Hey, what did you do? By the way, Ben Riach did that. I haven't forgiven them yet. The new 21 is peated. The old 21 wasn't. And I really think that should be like this big on the label, all right? All right. This is a complex peat. I'm getting things. I'm getting a chocolate. I'm getting a smokehouse. I'm getting a little bit of ashtray as well, a little bit of the bonfire. Not bad, not bad. Now, this is a single bourbon barrel. Now, it was in there for 14 years in this single bourbon barrel. Was it the first fill? Don't know. Okay, I'm just reading here. So the brilliant Loch Lomond Distillery has for years produced many different styles of whiskey. I'm reading from the website of Uncharted Whisky. Each different single malt spirit they have named after one of the many beautiful islands of the Loch. And this is a soft, smoky spirit named Inchfad, F-A-D, fad. Interesting, interesting. And they say this has a delicate, complex infusion of aromas, including with florals, powdered sugar, peanut butter, spice, and a rich, deep peat. Now, I would have said this is a complex, rich, deep peat with, I don't know what's behind that peat because I can hardly smell it. If they say there's powdered sugar and peanut butter and spice and florals, I don't get it. I'm sorry, not yet. There is a sugary type of spicy type of maybe floral moment, but I don't get the peanut butter. Sorry. Now this is 56.2%. I'm sorry. This is 55.4. So they're very, very similar. 12 years, 14 years. Cheers. Now, the first thing that I, don't notice is I don't notice an alcohol burn. Yes, there's a tiny little bit of an alcohol supporting factor there, but it's not like, oh, I'm grabbing my water and going to dilute it down. Not at all. I do get a lot of that peatiness. It is an interesting, complex peat in my personal opinion. I would not be able to place it. Originally, I thought it would be like the Week of Peat up there. A Week of Peat is much, much ashier. Highland Park, hardly comparison. Highland Park is maybe 3 ppm, and this is 35 ppm, 25, all right? There's a big difference here. Even over here, the Springbank, it's like, oh, I don't get any peat. And many people don't get peat, and it varies a little bit, the peat, and it has a little bit of funkiness, and that's good. It's a different whiskey, a different type, a different... and every year, the single cask change their variations of cask being used, which infuriates some people, and other people just go, oh, that's the magic of Springbank. Enjoy it. They'll do whatever they want to, and it will not be the same 2 years in a row. Get used to it. And just like live and love. And he's like, no, I want my consistency here. No, not a Springbank. We're just kind of laid back. And I just love that vibe that the Springbank has. They don't even try to have the consistency that a good German with our norms would like to have sometimes. All right, very, very good. This is an interesting whiskey. Sold out in the UK. A few bottles are left over in Germany. You're not going to find it anyplace else. You might find it in a secondary market. Beautiful bottle designed by Dana and also Jack themselves. I really, really like this bottle. They make it in Italy. Good job, guys, on doing this the way you did it. I must admit, this is very, very good. And if you go look at my website, find Glen Adachi, Uncharted, you'll find actually at the end, the nice little, at the beginning and at the end, a nice little interview with the two of them. This is for me, and this is because it's my wheelhouse. It's not my wheelhouse. I'm not a Loch Lomond peated, smoky type of drinker at the moment. I'm going to give this a C to a C minus. Because it's bad? No. Because it doesn't taste good to me. All right? To each their own, and this is not my own. Value for money, 85 euros, 14 years old, fat cask strength, one single, well made, C to C minus as well. All right, this is not something that I would recommend to anyone who is not a specialized drinker and has actually a little bit of a, let's say more, what was it called here? So they have deeper pockets. That's not what I want to say. They have more income, disposable income. So people have a tiny little bit of disposable income and looking for something special. Bam. The only thing I'm going to criticize at this moment after taking a look at this, I think this value for money, or I'm sorry, this price class of whiskey that at least we here in Europe often expect some type of box. Some type of tube, something to protect the whiskey from the sunlight and to give it a little bit more of a protection. I actually have here a Rumors 30 years old, which is 30-year-old, 300 plus euro bottle, no box, no container, no tube, no nothing, no nothing. That's a little bit of a shame, all right? And that's a little bit of the problem. I pay 350 pounds or 350 euros for this, or 80 for this, and they're almost the same in the design and everything, and you have to look at the label, see what you have. Okay, the little tiny tip what I would prefer to have there. And by the way, Springbank is going away from these boxes and going into tubes as well. Yay, many people are happy about that. All right, a little taste of the Springbank. The thing that surprises me most is the heat, which shows me how little heat over here was. This is very well integrated. The time in the cask, very, very nicely done. Good whiskey. Thank you very much. Whiskey Jason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskey, one of 210 bottles worldwide. And that's that. All right, like, subscribe, share, tell others, and thank you very much for considering new independent bottlers, for example, Uncharted Whisky. Bye-bye.